Hello and welcome to Against All Odds, a program that is dedicated at showcasing survivor stories. My name is Rachel Mwenyeheli, and as you know, we always have interesting stories to share with you. Now imagine you having to go blind when you could see. Very difficult journey if you were to try and imagine it. Something that you'd figure out as starting all over again when you're used to a certain lifestyle and having over to jump into something different. Help me welcome to the program Abiota, who's here to tell her story of how blindness almost caught up with her, but however, miracles do happen with the help of medication and doctors as well. Abiota, thank you so much for joining us right here on Against All Odds.
Thank you for having me.
Great.
Thank you.
All right. Let's start off with a little bit of your background, a little bit of some history. Tell us about yourself.
Okay, so my name is Abiota. I come from a family of 7. I am a second last born, and I'm a mother to 2 beautiful girls.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your journey and how it started. What happened on a particular day where you noticed something was amiss?
Yeah, so I was normal. I was okay. I was seeing properly, but I was studying. So I just started experiencing pain in my eyes, headaches, and with time, my eyesight started deteriorating. I just didn't know what was going on, but I thought it was just one of those. Because I was studying, I thought I was getting strained. So yeah, as I was now writing my exams, I started realizing I'm now seeing blurry things, even images, everything just started looking blurry. And so in the process, I then ended up not seeing anything at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take you back a little bit here.
Okay.
You say that you were studying on one particular day, auntie.
Yes.
And then, what? My headaches ndo akatanga.
Yeah, during that time, I was studying for my master's.
All right.
And I was preparing for exams. So I thought I was getting strained from
this
reading, yeah, and preparing for exams. So yeah, headaches and pain in my eyes. I would just feel that.
Okay. Would you take, some sort of painkiller to relieve the symptoms? Would it work?
Yeah, just for a moment, paracetamol. Just for a moment, it will help. It would help, but then with time, the paracetamol couldn't work at all. And I thought maybe after exams, if I rest, I will be fine. But then after exams, it got even worse.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'd get symptoms of, headaches, sore eyes, blurry vision. That's what you started experiencing.
Yes.
All right. And this was over a period of how long? Because I know maybe it could be about a couple of weeks or so.
In a space of 2 weeks only, I got blind.
In a space of 2 weeks?
Yes.
Completely blind?
They called me legally blind. That's what the medical
term.
People, yeah, that's why they called me legally blind, because when they are now testing how you are seeing, they would not use those big letters anymore. They would use fingers, flicking fingers to check if you can at least see movement. Yeah.
And
so
you
I was
couldn't see
blind.
any movement at all?
Nothing. And I needed help now to move around. Somebody had to choose clothes for me to wear and tell me in a plate if I want to eat. They have put this and that, and I would not use cutlery. I would just use my hands. Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
It was that bad. Yeah.
Okay. So in a space of 2 weeks, when did you decide I need to see the doctor or I need to see an eye specialist?
So I thank God for family around me. I had family around me. So when that happened, they quickly said, you know what, we need to now seek medical assistance. So it was at a time when that very day I couldn't feed my child. I had my daughter, my first child was only 1 year, 5 months. And I was trying to feed her and I couldn't feed her that day. So I tried to call one of my closest relatives to tell them this was going on, and I couldn't call them. I couldn't see anything. So my niece was around, had to then find somebody to call. And when they called, we then decided, let's go and see doctors. So first time I went to see an optician who then did those tests, and I couldn't see anything. Those big letters, I couldn't see anything. And then they said, they thought maybe it's sugar or BP. So they had to cancel those things first. So I had those tested, and I was okay. And decided to then refer me to an ophthalmologist. That's when I went to an ophthalmologist who then checked and realized both my retina had detached. Yeah.
When you're talking about your retina, we might not know what that is exactly. And when you're saying it detached, what do you mean? Maybe you can explain that to us.
Yeah, I wasn't a medical person then, but now I understand better. So there is I may not be able to explain it in a medical way, but there is a layer at the back of your eye, which is called retina. That layer, it's supposed to convert the light, just like how the mirror or the lenses work. So that layer, it got removed. Yakaba panjimbo. And there was this gap you could see on the pictures when they take pictures of the back of my eye. You could see on the pictures kuti layer yatova apana maziso ese ndandisisina that layer yayatova.
Saka you could see good papatone gap between. So something was missing.
Something was missing, yeah.
How did you feel when you found out that this is all going on? Because I can imagine, Kuti, you know, you went to the optician who had to rule out certain things, and then they referred you to a specialist, and all this is happening. Let me start off with, you were feeding your child at that particular time.
Yeah.
Your child was 1 year 5, auntie.
1 year 5
months.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
How did you feel? Did you feel any fear?
Initially, no. I am a Christian. I'm a strong believer, right? So initially, I thought it was just one of those, and I was going to be okay. So when I was referred to the doctors now, but when they did all those tests to find out the cause, they couldn't get the cause. That's when fear crept in to say, this I don't think I'll come out of, because they could not find the cause at all. And yeah, some of the doctors would actually mention that, I don't know if you're going to come out of this. Yeah, so it was terrible.
That's when you started feeling some type of way about the situation.
Yes, yeah. Being somebody who is very active, I'm somebody who does a lot of things, and now thinking, I think I'm now stuck. I don't know if I'm going to come out of this. So yeah, it was difficult. Yeah.
I can only imagine. Yes. Well, as you can actually hear Abiota narrating her story, telling us the ordeal that actually happened. Studying for her master's exams, you know, in a period of 2 weeks, she would experience headaches, sore eyes, and she just rubbed it off as something, you know, that would go away. Maybe pressure from the exams that she was going to be writing. However, her vision became very worse in the process, and then she got to a point where she couldn't see anything at all. This was at a point where she was trying to feed her child. That's when she realized something is wrong. Having to go to medical doctors to find out what is going on, first without a diagnosis, and then finally getting to know what it was about. This is where the journey begins. When we come back from the break, we want to find out what then happened. We're talking about the medical bills. We're talking about what were the doctors saying. Was she going to get her sight back? What did she experience, and some of the challenges that she went through? When we come back from the break, we'll find out more. Please don't go anywhere. This is Against All Odds. Welcome back to Against All Odds. We continue with Abiota's story. Just in case you're joining us, we are talking about someone who could see perfectly, but then through a certain time and period in her life, she started experiencing certain symptoms that include headaches, that include blurry vision, that include sore eyes, until to a point where she couldn't see completely. And that's when she went to visit a specialist, to be precise, an optician, who then referred her to a specialist to find out what exactly was going on. So now that you've been referred to the specialist, and now they are running a couple of tests to find out what is going on, they now tell you that this is what it is, and this is the condition that you have. How did you take it?
Yeah, I couldn't understand anything at all at first. What they were explaining, but they were saying because this had happened, both my retina had detached, both eyes, and they were saying it's a rare condition, and considering my age as well, it's it's a complicated situation where they do not know if I'll come out of it. But one of the doctors was saying, since it's retina detachment, they could treat me medically. But because they could not find the cause, it was very tricky as well. Because after treating you and they don't know the cause, then what? So yeah, it was a lot of a mixture of emotions and all that.
Okay. How old were you at the time, considering that they mentioned that for your age, it was a rare condition, it never happens? You know, at a certain age, is that what they were saying?
Yeah, they were saying for elderly people, it can happen, but in one eye, not both eyes even when you are older. I was 31 then. But yeah, so it was rare for me to go through that at that age, for both eyes to get retina detached.
Okay.
Yeah.
After being told that they could most probably treat it medically, which is, they were saying, a possibility that you might get your eyesight back. Now let's talk about the journey where you didn't have your eyesight at this particular time.
Yeah.
Now you cannot see, you couldn't see completely? Was it completely, you couldn't even see any object in front of you, nothing?
Nothing. I would just depend on, I would just depend on other senses, touch, feeling, hearing. Yeah, but I could not see a thing.
Let's talk about your daily life. You have a baby, all right, who was transitioning into being a toddler at that particular time. You were, doing school at the time as well. Were you working?
I was working,
Okay,
yes.
you were also working. Your life has completely changed.
Yeah.
You've gone from being very independent and being able to do things for yourself to having to rely on people. Let's talk about what happened with, your job. Let's start off with that.
I had to take sick leave. I had to take sick leave. Fortunately, when this happened, unfortunately, it happened when we were on shutdown, annual shutdown. So I just had to rely on my family to say, please communicate with my employer to tell them that I cannot come to work. This has happened. And people would communicate on my behalf because I can't. I cannot talk. And yeah, so I took sick leave the initial three months, and because it took longer than that, I was almost getting into 6 months. But I thank God for my employer. They preserved my job. They said when I get better, I should come back. And so I would just go there, sign in, just do what I can, go back home so that they don't cut my salary. And yeah, they held me through. I needed the money. I couldn't lose my job in the process, so they preserved my job as well.
Okay.
So I thank God for that as well, yeah.
And then, from you being, going to your everyday life, having, we're talking about bathing, dressing, eating, your child, taking care of your own child. How did you handle that? What was it? It must have been a challenge.
It was a challenge. Thank God for family again. They took up everything else about taking care of my baby. They did that for me on my behalf because I couldn't. But it was tough. Like you said, my daughter was beginning to walk, and they would say, "Look," and I couldn't see a thing. And it was really tough. But well, because they were there, they helped out with raising my child. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So family was there to support you, and that's how you found yourself navigating, certain aspects of your life, which made it slightly much easier than normal.
Yeah,
okay.
It was.
All right.
Yes.
Now let's talk about the treatment process in itself. Having been told that your treatment could actually happen through medication, did it, financially, was it expensive? I think, whenever we fall into my issues there, health, you find that there's that aspect of the financial burden that is there. Let's just talk about that.
Yeah. So when the local doctor here was trying to make arrangements for us to go to South Africa to see a retina specialist now, because he was saying he could treat me medically, but I needed to see a retina specialist. So there were costs involved, and they thought at that time I was going to get surgery done. And I remember getting quoted around 200 and something thousand rands for the surgery to be done. And we did not have money at all. Remember when we were moving from one doctor to another locally, we were using the money that we had, all our savings. We were also using our medical aid. And to some doctors, they don't take the medical aid that I have. So it was a challenge. We didn't have money. But then when they referred us to South Africa, also I had family, I had church, friends. They came together and they contributed money. Each person, whatever amount they could. And we managed to raise about 3,000, I remember 3,000 and something for us to take with us to South Africa. It wasn't enough, but it was going to at least help us. And also because of family in South Africa, they said we should just come, and they were going to assist us. And even our flights, there was somebody who said, I will pay for the flights, they will go. So I had people, and that everyone who knew me that stood with us. So I thank God for that. But yeah, it was a lot. Yeah.
And when you got to South Africa, now you were seeing the specialist there, the retina specialist. When you saw your condition, what did he say?
It was a she.
Okay.
Yeah, she saw my condition. To her, I think it's something that she deals with a lot of times. She saw my condition, and immediately I got tests done again, the test that they had done here. And she couldn't also find the causeway. But she said from her experience, basing on her experience, she then said she was going to then treat me immediately. So that this condition was not going to get worse. So she started treating me immediately, and then referred me to yet another specialist called a rheumatologist, yeah, for assistance in finding the cause. Yeah.
Did you ever find the cause?
Yeah, eventually we did. Eventually we did, yeah.
And with the treatment, there was no need for surgery?
There wasn't. There was a need, and I really thank God for that. The doctor, the retina specialist, actually said she would not do surgery. Surgery was going to complicate the whole thing. I was going to even end up blind forever. And yeah, so she said the safest way was to treat me medically. So they did put me on medication. Yeah.
And the medication that you had to take, was it, maybe 2 pills per zua or?
Not 2.
More than that?
I think if I recall, I would take about 30 tablets a day or so. And I would get drowsy. I would get drunk. I don't drink, but I think that's how you get drunk. Yes.
Well, Abiotha narrating her story. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we want to find out how she went from almost being blind to being a survivor. This is Against All Odds. Welcome back to Against All Odds. Now, Abiotha narrating her story, her ordeal, whereby she had to travel to South Africa to get a specialist to find out what exactly was going on, what then caused it, because the condition that she had was actually rare, especially at her age, at a young age, in her 30s, something that older people get to experience. But what was even more astonishing or amazing was that it happened in both eyes. Something that usually only happens in one eye happened in both eyes, and at her age, it was just not balancing. It wasn't actually making sense. So it was quite a difficult situation. However, she managed to come out of this. And this is the story that we want to share with you, where it actually gets interesting. Now, Abiotha, you've gone to South Africa. You've now been treated. They managed to treat you, just using medication without having to go through surgery.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
You were just before the break, you were talking about the number of tablets that you were taking a day. We usually think, my tablets, maybe 2, 3, 4, maybe a day, maximum of 5 a day or something like that. It just depends. Nothing too hectic. But for you, were saying you're even taking as close to even 30 or 20 tablets a day. And I'm sure mentally it must have been exhausting in the beginning.
It was. It was. Yeah. I would take those tablets and I would feel drowsy. I would just sleep, I think, most of the day. And also they were doing it, I think, so that I do not process what I was going through. And so I would just spend the day sleeping. They would wake me up to eat, take my medication, sleep again. Yeah. So yeah, that was it.
So from the time you started taking your medication, how long did it then take for your eyesight to be restored?
So from the first time I took my medication, it took about a week for me. Remember, I was on 0%, right? So after 1 week, when we went back for review, I was now on 5%, both eyes, from 0. And then from 5%, my left eye was recovering faster and better than the right eye. So my left eye, I think from 5, it went to 20, but my right eye went to 15. And then from there, I think I got stuck a bit for a while, but in a space of 3 months, I think I got to about 60%.
Wow.
Not 60%, yeah.
So
60%.
you could start to see again.
I could start to see from seeing bright colors only. I could tell that must be red or orange. I could not differentiate differentiate between the two. But I could tell at least that must be red, that must be orange. Although I could not read or do other things. But I could at least pick the bright colors and move from there to seeing very big letters. And from there, I moved to see at least figures and all. Then it started. And I would get excited every time I see something new. I remember when we moved to South Africa, my brother had just renovated his house, and I had no idea what the house looked like. But the first time I saw the walls of his kitchen, I'm like,
wow.
I can see at least. Yeah. So yeah. Started celebrating those small wins,
I can only imagine how you must have felt like, from just the thought of having to think that you would be legally blind, to being able to regain your sight, bit by bit, seeing things and getting excited.
Yeah.
I'm sure even when you begin to recognize faces again, you must have been happy seeing your daughter's face, for example, seeing your family, your friends, being able to read and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That must have been great for you. During this whole ordeal, what held you together? Because you know, from the way you're telling your story, you're so composed and you seem so sure that everything was going to be okay.
Yeah. I was sure, though along the way it was difficult to hold on to that. But when I started the journey, I remember when I came from the doctor, just before I left for South Africa, church where I fellowship from, they came to pray with us, and I received different encouragements from the elders of the church. One of the elders told me that just like Hannah, God was dealing with my situation so that His glory will be seen. Like, Hannah, God shut her womb, not for anything else, not because she had done anything wrong, but for God's glory to be seen. And I received that word, and I did put it in my heart. Remember, I could not read anything anymore, so every word that would come along, I would hold on to it. And the other prophecy that I received when one of the elders' wives was praying for me, she said she saw a vision. She saw me. Funny thing, I'm actually putting on a dress with flowers. She saw a vision of me in a flowery dress, seeing. And she said I think I was addressing or talking, but I was in a flowery dress. It's actually dawning on me right now that I'm putting on
a flowery dress. Can you imagine? And she said that you'd be addressing people, and here you are addressing, the nation.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Thank God.
Miracles do happen. God is always there for us.
Yes.
He will make sure that He'll never leave our side.
Yes.
Oh, this is
God.
Definitely amazing. I can only imagine how you feel right now, realizing that this prophecy is sort of coming to be.
It is. It is. It is.
Abiotha, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Your last words of encouragement, maybe, to people who may find themselves in a, difficult situation where they realize that their lives are changing from what they were used to something different. What would you want to say to them?
Yeah. I'd like to say to somebody going through anything right now, I know when you're going through stuff, it's difficult for you to believe that you will come out. But just remember that nothing is permanent in life. Everything we are going out, we are going through will pass. It will pass. Just hang in there. I think if you are listening to my story and if you are seeing me, I'm a testimony. One of the things that I would like people to know, they are small things to some, but to me they are really big things. Something like I can now drive. I can drive myself. That I never imagined myself doing. From the time I got blind, I never imagined myself doing certain things. But now I do everything on my own. I just now manage how I carry myself, but everything is possible.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Well, as you can hear Abiotha narrating her story, miracles do happen. She never thought she'd be in this position. We often take for granted the gifts that have been given to us. And if you do believe in a higher power, he has blessed you with a lot. But gratitude can actually take you a long way, because the small things we take for granted can be taken away from you today. However, it's all about being thankful and grateful for what we have. But one thing I also like about Abiotha's story is that as much as she is a believer, as much as she believes in a higher power, as much as she believes in God, she also didn't just rely on the miracles that he could actually give her. She also relied on medical attention that also got her where she is. Well, this is Against All Odds, and these are the stories that we share right here. Stories that will inspire you, stories that will show you that sometimes we just have to be grateful for what we have. Until next time, do take care. My name is Rachel, and this is Against All Odds.